The peaceful transfer of power is one of the most fundamental principles of American democracy. As much as any other principle, it is what distinguishes our system of government from monarchy or tyranny. Today at the United States Capitol, I will perform my constitutional duty as Vice President of the United States to certify the results of the 2024 election.
She's going to perform. She's going to the Capitol to perform. Going to hardly wait. They're going to let her in around the big, tall fences. They brought the fences back. The fences are back around the Capitol. Is she going to have to scale the fence to get in? Got to look out when Kamala performs. That was Kamala. Today, she's the Vice President of the United States, amazingly, because Joe Biden narrowed down his search when he said, we're going to have a woman of color. The Washington Post attacks today President George H.W. Bush, saying that he is a liar because he said that when he nominated Clarence Thomas for the Supreme Court, that he didn't nominate him because he's a black man. He nominated him because of his qualifications. And the Washington Post today, in an article about politicians lying, they went back many decades to pull that one out. And they said, and that's an example of a political lie, right? Attempting to be diplomatic. Remarkable stuff. Now, Joe Biden, he said that he's going to pick a woman, gender, of color, race, and that narrowed down the search for vice president pretty rapidly. And you had this freshman senator who was famous for, Willie Brown dating and all that stuff. But in any event, she'll be on Capitol Hill today as Vice President of the United States, and she will preside over the certification process because politics is show business. They have surrounded the U.S. Capitol with giant fences, big, tall fences that are hard to scale unless you're a scaly kind of person like Senator Chuck Schumer. He can scale anything. Remarkable stuff. But she'll be there to certify the election of Donald Trump. And it's kind of, there's an irony, I guess, because she was the other candidate and she lost to Donald Trump, and she's got to certify the election of Donald Trump today. Are the Democrats planning on rioting? On this Ashley Babbitt Day? This is I guess it would be the third annual Ashley Babbitt Day in Washington, D.C. The only person that was killed that day, Ashley Babbitt, a 12-year veteran of the United States Air Force, a patriotic American, an America-loving American, and the Democrats applauded the racist assassination, the execution of Ashley Babbitt for the alleged crime of trespassing, because trespassing in lefty world is a death penalty offense. And when the police show up, and what was his name? Lieutenant Byrd. He searched for his bullet. He's only allowed to carry one bullet. He keeps it in his shirt pocket under the flap, just like Barney Fife. Sheriff Andy told him that he couldn't leave bullets in his gun. So he pulled a gun and he shot her and killed her at point blank range for allegedly trespassing. And that's what happened. That's what happened on that day. But here comes Mr. Bill's dog. Here comes Kamala Harris to Capitol Hill today. And she will preside as Congress certifies the election of Donald Trump and his victory over her, Kamala Harris. The last time this happened was when Al Gore, he certified because he was running for president, and he lost and George W. Bush won. And because he was vice president, he was also presiding over the certification of the election of George W. Bush. That's the last time the vice president lost the presidential election, ran and lost, and had to then preside over the certification of the man in those cases that defeated him. Speaking of defeated, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton got a Presidential Medal of Freedom for being the best loser in the history of losers. That's kind of the thing. But the news media, boy, they are all over. January 6th, 4 years ago, oh no, the last time, and Ashley Babbitt was shot. They'll never mention Ashley Babbitt, but we will because it's Ashley Babbitt Day. And the next day, a great police officer, U.S. Capitol Police, Brian Sicknick, died of a stroke. And it was a tragic thing. I think he was 43 years old, just from memory. But Brian Sicknick, great supporter of President Trump. Brian Sicknick, great sense of humor. Everybody loved him. And tragically, he died the next day of a stroke. The Democrats tried to make up a lie. Well, they did make up a lie. They tried to make it work with the American people that he was hit in the head with a fire extinguisher. And, and they were lying about everything, just lying because they lie about everything. It's what they do. They're liars. But with that, we open with Kamala there. And she released a video this morning where she's, I guess, for the first time ever trying to look vice presidential or something like that. And the peaceful transfer of power is fundamental. Isn't eating fundamental? Reading is fundamental. Reading is fundamental, too. So the peaceful transfer of power is fundamental. Well, I have a memory, and my memory still works pretty well. I remember you guys rioting and burning cities from coast to coast and sacking, looting, plundering, attacking the White House for days, burning the church of the presidents, forcing the evacuation of the president. But none of that matters. That's not a part of their permanent record for the Democrats because of a corrupt media and a corrupt academia. And the reason the media is corrupt is because of the left. The reason academia is corrupt is because of the left. See? That's it. Now, Kamala, with the video that she posted this morning about what she has to do today, she's going to be dragged to Capitol Hill by armed men. We're going to pretend it's a security detail, but really she's being forced in there.
This duty is a sacred obligation.
Duty.
One I will uphold, guided by love of country, loyalty to our Constitution, and my unwavering faith in the American people.
Who wrote that, I wonder, because that's none of that is true. She's never said anything like that in her life, ever before. Just amazing. And let's not forget, there was one riot 4 years ago today, on Ashley Babbitt Day. Today, the third anniversary of Ashley Babbitt's. Isn't that amazing? Excuse me, fourth. It's obviously the fourth anniversary. And the boy, oh boy, doing my math. So here's Kamala with her video, and it's all very sacred, and she really loves this country. First time ever. It's like Michelle Obama spitting and shaking her head at the American flag being presented. Kamala Harris.
As we have seen, our democracy can be fragile, and it is up to then each one of us to stand up for our most cherished principles and to make sure that in America, our government always remains of the people, by the people,
wonder where this is going.
And for the people.
For the head.
May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.
Yeah, of the people, by the people, and for the people. I don't know, it reminds me of Abraham Lincoln, who was, of course, shot in the head and murdered by a Democrat, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, and the sacred duty and our Constitution and our Union. The Democrat Party gave us the first Civil War. I remember that well. Jefferson Davis, for example, Democrat president, Confederate States of America. Aren't they amazing? And they love to rewrite history. The media, the Democrats, the media and the academics, they love to rewrite history and pretend. They pretend a lot. So there will be certification, as there was certification 4 years ago as well, even though there was a bit of a dust up there. But you may remember President Trump on this day 4 years ago. President Trump was holding a rally on the ellipse behind the White House, and he suggested that the people in the audience could, and there was a plan to march to the Capitol, and there were questions being raised about the election and the legitimacy of Joe Biden's election. He got more votes than anybody in the history of the United States of America, and he didn't even campaign. He was in an iron lung in his basement for 6 months, and somehow this dim-witted numbskull who had never done anything but the crime bill that put black people in prison for crimes that wouldn't put white people in prison. And the Democrats decided they loved him and they elected him. And and more votes than Barack Obama got by millions more votes than, because the racist Democrats of the Confederate States of America couldn't vote. They couldn't come out and vote for Barack Obama the way they came out and voted for Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Millions more votes than Hillary Clinton because the Democrats couldn't vote for a woman the way they could vote for Crusty Joe. Isn't that amazing? But President Trump, on this day, January 6th, 4 years ago, knowing that the crowd, at least elements of the crowd, were going to march to the Capitol, had this advice.
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
And the Democrats have peacefully and patriotically let your voices be heard. You know, First Amendment, exercising First Amendment rights. Now, I mean, again, the Democrats laid siege to Washington and Seattle and to Portland and to Minneapolis and Chicago and Kenosha and New York and Washington and Atlanta and they rioted and looted and sacked and plundered, and they made rioting normal. They made political mob street violence normal all over the country because St. George Floyd, you know, more people are killed in lightning strikes in the United States every year than there are black people killed by the police while unarmed. Literally true. I did the research myself. Now, the Democrats, as you know, lie about everything all the time. It's one of the very few things that they're good at. And usually, it's corrupt, the things that they're good at. But here is the Democrat leader in the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, who was raised and mentored by his radical uncle, who Professor Leonard Jeffries, a notorious and famous anti-Semite. But never mind that. Here's Hakeem Jeffries, and the media. This was just yesterday that he. Friday, that Hakeem Jeffries said this.
There are no election deniers on our side of the aisle.
There aren't. Whoa!
See?
Then they burned a bank. This is wild.
One should love America.
One should love America.
One should love America when you win and when you lose. That's the patriotic thing to do.
They lie about being patriotic once every 4 years for about a minute. And that's then, and you heard Kamala doing it a minute ago. Now, yeah, this was during the election, the re-election of Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House of Representatives, which had a hiccup, but not much of a hiccup. 3 Republicans initially first go around said, I don't think I can vote for him. So they didn't. And then they did, and everything's fine. President Trump intervened and said, listen, Mike Johnson's the Speaker. And it was really not a big deal, but the media fans the flames of civil war and division at every possible turn, and they love division in all of it. So there is Hakeem Jeffries. He's such a patriot. He's the opposite of a patriot. He's anti-American, un-American. He's not on our side at all. And yeah, and we have no election deniers on our side. That's a filthy lie, and he's a filthy liar. And maybe he's just too stupid to know the truth, which is possible. He gets his news from MSDNC and CNN and the Circle Fest and the Hot Tub, where they don't actually talk about the news. And then, speaking of Circle Fest and Hot Tub, Jonathan Capehart. He's still Washington Post, MSNBC, whatever, same thing. And Jonathan Capehart on MSDNC. And it's the same thing. We don't have any election deniers, you know, like those Republicans.
Should we be shocked that Democrats would accept the results of a free and fair election?
Well, Democrats have always accepted the results of a free and fair election. This election is not going to be any different. In fact, Kamala Harris will be, sort of there in place to do that.
Yeah, good thing we don't deny elections or anything like that. You know, like Hillary Clinton talking about the 2016 election when she lost to Trump.
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee. And you can have the election stolen from you.
Yay! My favorite part is they cheer having the election stolen from you. Hillary Clinton then promised that this election in 2024 would be stolen by the dastardly Republicans.
Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election.
And Terry McAuliffe, former governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia and DNC chair, saying that the 2000 election that Al Gore lost was stolen.
If Catherine Harris, Jeb Bush, Jim Baker, and the Supreme Court hadn't tampered with the results, Al Gore would be president.
And they all cheered. And then he said the 2004 election was stolen when George Bush won re-election.
We actually won the last presidential election, folks. They stole the last presidential election.
Yeah, they don't have any election deniers in the Democrat Party. They just have liars all over the place. They have election deniers all over the place. Isn't Stacey Abrams still the governor of Georgia in her own mind? There's not been an election in the 21st century that they've lost that they haven't said was stolen. Every presidential election that they've lost since 2000, they've said was stolen. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. January 6th. Here we are, 4 years later. Joe Biden, pretty amazing stuff. Giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to George Soros, who is here to destroy the United States of America as we know it, the fundamental transformation of America that Barack Obama threatened, that the left is still hell-bent on inflicting upon Western civilization and the rest of civilization for that matter, war in the Middle East. The Biden years have been truly horrible years. Jimmy Carter, I haven't even talked about Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter died at the age of 100, and his funeral in Washington, D.C. later this week, actually. And then we got this radical left-wing extremist judge in New York who's planning on sentencing President Trump on Friday. Jimmy Carter's funeral is in Washington, I think, on Thursday, National Cathedral and so on. But in the meantime, Biden honors Anna Wintour. Bono, the Irish, U2 guy. George Soros with Medal of Freedom. The British Broadcasting Corporation is on the job. I'm sorry, George Soros, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He spent so many millions of his ill-gotten gains on damaging the United States of America with corrupt prosecutors, corrupt Democrat politicians everywhere who are here to subvert the United States of America. Ashley Babbitt Day, 4 years on. Why did that racist police officer shoot that nice lady, the Air Force veteran, and kill her? And then the Democrats gave him awards and promotions. They love racist police shootings, sexist, racist police shootings. The Democrats, they are. Big election deniers from way back. Yes, sir. And again, keeping in mind that Hillary Clinton said the 2016 election was stolen from her. Hillary Clinton said the Republicans were going to steal the 2024 election, right-wing extremists, a radical plot to do that. And we've got a news media that just, plays the role of bootlick throughout all of this. Remarkable stuff. Terry McAuliffe, former awful, terrible governor and Democratic National Committee chair, said and insisted I think he still insists, the 2000 election, George W. Bush via Al Gore, insists it was stolen. They were trying to steal it in Florida with the dangling chads and hanging chads and the recounts and the only in Democrat strongholds while they were digging up votes. And they're furious that the Supreme Court became involved, put an end to the folderol that they were inflicting on all of us. Terry McAuliffe then insisted that the 2004 election, George W. Bush won re-election, that election was stolen. And so that, and then they won 2008 with Barack Obama, 2012 Barack Obama, right? And they didn't claim those were corrupt or stolen because they won them. Then 2016, Hillary lost, Trump won. They claimed that one was stolen. Hillary said, and other Democrats said, that one was stolen. Right? Then they won with Joe Biden. They don't think that one was stolen, even though somehow Joe Biden got millions and millions more votes than Hillary Clinton got, millions and millions more votes than Barack Obama got, and Joe Biden didn't even campaign. So the racist, sexist Democrats turned out for crusty Joe Biden, whose brain is broke, in numbers by the millions, much larger than the Democrats turned out for Hillary Clinton, who would have been the first woman president, and much larger numbers than they turned out for Barack Obama, who was the first African-American or African-American president, two-time president. But that's okay. Never mind the Democrats. Aren't they some? I haven't gone to a phone call in a long time. Let's do that, and then we have more crazy Democrat stuff to get to. And I should mention that in Canada, there's all kinds of fun stuff going on in Canada, which is America's hat. America's hat. And also our largest national park, as everybody knows. They give us all kinds of silly stuff. But here's what's going on in Canada, where they have this guy, Justin Trudeau. His dad was the prime minister, because the left, they're like they do this in third world countries where the wife takes over when the husband dies or the son takes over when dad dies. It's a dictator thing. Justin Trudeau will announce his resignation as leader of Canada's Liberal Party on Monday. And the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is reporting, and this will trigger a contest to replace him as prime minister. So the liberal left-wing blackface, famous for his blackface photos, Justin Trudeau announcing this morning that he will step down as the leader of Canada's Liberal Party. And that means he will be squeezed out as prime minister. We should do that to Joe Biden. Joe Biden should still step down as president. It's not too late. And then Kamala would become the first African-American, Indian-American, female president of the United States. That's a threefer. That's 3 boxes checked. And the Democrats, Joe Biden could do that now. He could make history. But he won't, because he's a racist and a sexist. And I got to get back to the Presidential Medals of Freedom, too, because I've got some ideas for who President Trump should present with the Presidential Medal of Freedom when President Trump is sworn in as president. He's got a lot to do on his first day, but we'll get to that. Now, let's go to the telephones because I haven't gone there long. Let's go to Donna calling from Frederick, Maryland. Oh, Donna, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Oh, Chris, Happy New Year. It's so good to hear you. I love how you entertain. And I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, my goodness, I've been his apprentice for so many years now. And I was thinking about January 6th, and it smells of setup. And the left is known for lather, rinse, repeat, and do the same thing over. But again, to sound more like you, forget the lather and rinse. But they blame MAGA for everything they do, and I think that's part of what those tragic events that we saw in Vegas and in New Orleans were about. And they're trying to, of course, they're going to blame the military. They're running out of people to blame. It's the same old BS. And as far as Hakeem Jeffries, he's like the Obama wannabe. You look at his cadence, his body language, the optics. It's just, if people don't see through this by now, they're still sleepwalking. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about that and the flags being half-staff for Carter while Trump is supposed to be inaugurated. I don't know if they're supposed to keep them that up that long, but just in general, I'd love to hear your opinion on everything I mentioned. And I'm sorry I'm so long-winded about it, but I respect your opinion about all of it, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
No, it's great. It's great stuff, Donna, I've got to say. And it's true, the flags will be at half-staff. I believe it's 30 days. There are standard protocols for these occasions, and for a president of the United States to die, which doesn't happen very often, I believe it's 30 days. The protocol is for flags to be at half-staff, ordered to be at half-staff on government buildings for 30 days after the death of a president. And Jimmy Carter was president of the United States, and he may have been the second worst president of the United States that we've ever had after Joe Biden. And it's amazing, that Jimmy Carter lived long enough to see a president come along who is worse as president than he was. And, God bless him, God rest his soul. Jimmy Carter, a Naval Academy grad, a naval officer. He became governor of Georgia and president of the United States, and he was a tragedy as president of the United States. His personal life, fine, wonderful. But he lived to be 100 years old, plus a bit, and that's quite a remarkable thing. So the flags, and it is ironic that as Joe Biden leaves the presidency on January 20th, the west front of the Capitol for the inauguration, even though the Capitol is already surrounded with the big fences, because the Democrats love theater, they love show business, and our entire political system is a terrible cable television show. Remarkable stuff. But that is going to be part of the thing. And Joe Biden steps down as the worst president ever, while the flags are at half-staff for the second worst president ever. President Trump comes in to hopefully slap our government and our country back into shape from Kash Patel at the FBI. And honestly, I think Pete Hegseth is looking better and better for making it through the confirmation process on Capitol Hill. The crooked Democrats in the Senate, and they got Adam Schiff in the Senate now. So they're going to fight like the jihadis that they are, the Democrats. And as for the radical Islamic jihadi attack in New Orleans, the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day attack with the massacre of humanity there, where the FBI agent came out with a ring in her nose and said this is not a terrorist attack, embarrassing the FBI yet again, which is pretty extraordinary, how many times the FBI has been investigated. And then the attack, and you're right, they're blaming the military because the Muslim jihadi that perpetrated the attack in New Orleans, turns out he had visited Cairo, Egypt last year. He had scouted the locations at Bourbon Street in New Orleans at least twice, apparently, prior to the actual attack. He was armed. He's shooting the police. Improvised explosive devices that were disarmed, brought in coolers because it's New Year's Eve. There's a big college football game, the Sugar Bowl that was supposed to be played there. It was delayed by a day. And you're right, the news media said, he was in the Army, Fort Bragg. And then a Democrat went and he rented in Las Vegas, Nevada, you mentioned, Donna. Another Democrat rented a Tesla. The Democrats have been ordered to hate Elon Musk, who created Tesla, the electric cars, of course, and he bought one of these like trucks that look like weird mobiles and filled it with things that explode, brought it to the front entrance of Trump Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, and blew himself up. And I got to say, the Tesla vehicle is so sturdy and solid that it contained the blast, and the blast went upward. It was full of nail bombs, which are designed to be anti-personnel devices and kill as many people as possible. And the lunatic in Las Vegas basically self-immolated. And in New Orleans, you've got, Shamsuddin Jabbar, and in Las Vegas, you got and the guy in Las Vegas was also an Army veteran. I think the Army maybe needs to raise their standards, elevate their standards, but these guys did both serve in the Army. I mean, the Democrats in the media are saying, oh, they were both at Fort Bragg. And at Fort Bragg, they have a psychological operations unit, and that could explain it. That explains nothing, but you're right. They're trying to blame the Army for a radical Islamic jihadi who's a Democrat that attacked people in New Orleans, and his name is Shamsuddin Jabbar. And then you've got the lunatic and he killed 14 and injured 30 or more. You see the video of the one lady running down the street with the long red hair, the curly red hair, and she didn't know there was a car racing up behind her, and she stepped up on the curb, leapt up on the curb, just missed it by that much. Man, that is amazing. That lady should have that picture on the wall in her kitchen to remind her every day of her life. But we've got this amazing stuff going on, and honestly, who was it? I think it's Nikki Haley said Trump's inauguration can't come soon enough. And, you know, we've got these terror attacks. We've got war in the Middle East, war in Europe, high gas prices up the yin-yang. Joe Biden announcing yesterday he's going to ban drilling and exploring for oil off of our coasts because he's sabotaging the incoming Trump administration, trying to get the economy back on track, which means low energy costs for industry, for commercial businesses, for individuals, for families. The poorer you are, the more high gas prices affect you, the more high energy prices affect you, natural gas, gasoline, food prices, all the essentials. And they've all skyrocketed under the Democrats and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But just amazing stuff. And Nikki Haley also said, you know, talking about the Trump inauguration can't come soon enough. George Soros awarded the Medal of Freedom, and Nikki Haley called that a slap in the face, which it is. Bono, the Irish, U2 singer, and he gets the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Honestly, you got to be kidding me. George Soros, nobody more anti-American than George Soros, and I guess it's because Fidel Castro is dead and Pol Pot out of Cambodia is dead. The world's most prolific mass murderer, Mao Zedong, is dead. But Joe Biden and the Democrats might give those people the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Just amazing stuff. George Soros. Hillary Clinton, she was bitter about it, too. How ridiculous. She really wanted the presidency. She wanted to be giving out Presidential Medals of Freedom to anti-American communists. Instead, she's getting, it's kind of a consolation prize, I guess. Not second place, not third place. It's not silver or bronze. But here, have this nice medal. And go home because your husband's cheating on you again, as he's always done. Pretty amazing stuff. And I got to say, Donna, you're right about, everything is blame MAGA, blame the Army. And these Democrats are so awful. And it's why they were voted out of office and why they don't control the House of Representatives or the United States Senate or the White House. Or, by the way, there's a 6-3 conservative majority on the United States Supreme Court. They love to bring everything through the courts because they don't believe in democracy, bringing things through committee in the House of Representatives and for, the Congress to vote on bills. They don't believe in any of that. They've corrupted everything. It's extraordinary, but they just lost everything in Washington politics in the big election, and that's a good thing. And people I think are starting to wake up. And Donna, I think you said people are starting to wake up. And in New York, they've got this guy arrested 87 times, Democrat out there stabbing people. He's mentally ill, and they just say, let's put him back on the street. More crime, more Democrats, more crime. More Democrats, more murder. More Democrats, more terrorism. More Democrats, more illegal alien gangs from Venezuela murdering mothers and daughters and nursing students. The Democrats. Aren't they amazing? Donna, I got to tell you, it's been a couple of weeks since I was sitting in my chair here, and I'm still playing catch-up. Terror attacks, suicide, and it was a suicide attack on the Trump Hotel, right? The guy in the vehicle, and you're right, the media So what's the commonality here? Oh, the U.S. Army. So, like, they're the bad guys. And they're trying to say that the Nevada guy was some kind of a MAGA Republican, which is why he rented a Tesla to self-immolate in front of a Trump hotel where he planned to commit mass murder, but failed. Just suicide attempt, self-immolation, obviously a Democrat. An Elon Musk vehicle, are you kidding me? And the answer is no, they're not kidding me. They're lying to me again. All right, I've got Adam Schiffless and creepy lying Democrats lying about everything, attacking everything. Oh, that's still coming up. Yeah, because Democrats are on the loose. And big goings on Capitol Hill today, certifying the election of Donald Trump. And the certification will be presided over by Kamala Harris, which is kind of funny. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Sid, calling from Los Angeles, California. Sid, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi there, Chris. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Anyway, a couple things I want to say. Forgot the FBI was able to track down all these 1,005 rioters on January the 6th, where they can't track down this pipe bomber 4 years later. Maybe they're using the special methods not to find him. And the other thing is, in your list of Democratic deniers, you omitted Jamie Raskin, who said he planned to prevent Trump from becoming president by using the 14th or whatever that amendment is about. He was a insurrection leader. So
all right.
I thought
Yeah, the insurrection. Yeah, because the insurrection. And if you look at the word insurrection in the dictionary, you'll see that Democrats have been engaging in insurrectionist behavior for years and years now on an ongoing basis. Yeah, you're right. Raskin, what a sleazeball he is. Just amazing. And right, I mean, Sid, when the FBI, as they did hours ago, released video under pressure from Republicans in the House of the pipe bomber, and we haven't seen it in 4 years. What do you make of that, Sid?
I don't know how they work. I was watching a television show yesterday. They tracked down all this information in an hour. They had facial recognition software, all kinds of things.
Right.
Maybe that's television. In reality, they don't have any of those abilities to use facial recognition, all kinds of techniques to track people.
Right, and cell phones. They have photos and videos of him using cell phones. They know where he was, when he was, cell phone towers.